Hello and welcome to More Than a Tattoos podcast, where, as you might have guessed, we're going to talk about more than tattoos. My name is Chris Powell. I'm a husband, father, tattooer, and this is my co-host.
Tim Saul. I'm a videographer, content creator, and a good friend.
Yes, sir. Here's where I would probably tell you a little bit about what we're going to be delivering to you guys. Some might call a mission statement, but yeah, I honestly, we don't have that 100% dialed in yet. And really, we're going to be shooting a lot from the hip here. But over the years, we've had hundreds, if not thousands, of good conversations, and really just want to share some of those with you guys. We don't know exactly what that looks like, but I do know that we're passionate about this stuff. We're passionate about growth, and just want to maybe open it up to where some of you guys might get value from it and improve some of you guys' situations, lives, etc. But that's really it, And then over the episodes, the more we dive into this, I think the more that some of that will be revealed to us, and we will be able to understand more what we're really going to be able to take and run with for you guys. So that's really all I got right now. I mean, here in a second, we got a couple good maybe good questions we can fire at each other and kind of talk about a little bit where we're at and share kind of what we're doing to move forward. And then next episode, we'll kind of rewind that and dive back into kind of where we started and share some of the journey and some of the obstacles and high points. There's been a lot of awesome times building this business and running right alongside Tim here. And I think that we just got a lot of good stuff to share that captions with tattoo photos just don't do. So we're really excited about it. I know that's pretty long-winded, but yeah, appreciate you guys for showing up.
Yeah, and on the adverse of that, a lot of our conversations are just coming from experience, like things we encounter, whether it's business or personal. But really doing it on a podcast is, I think, going to open that up. Not only going to bring value to people that might just be listening, or they're like, damn, I went through something similar to that, but you're able to like share. We're like trying to open that conversation up to more people that are going to be listening to this too, because like you just said, we've had so many good conversations, but very few times has it been when, like, someone else is in the room or someone else is partaking in that conversation too, right? So
100%. 100%. Iron sharpens iron. And I don't want to show up on this podcast as we're the guys. Like, by no means are we trying to prove anything, telling you we got the fucking key to the secret to success here. I don't want to come across as that, but we do have some good experience. We do have good results. I think we do bring some of that to the table, but we're looking to open up conversation and hopefully grow through this as well, because we're still going to have same conversations that we've had about what's next for us, what's next in our business. And I really don't want to hide a bunch of stuff. If I'm facing obstacles or facing challenges, or we just had some big wins, like, I feel like this would be a cool place to share them, and I'm hoping that that helps you guys feel the same. And I really just want to see a fucking room full of people winning. Like, a rising tide raises all ships here.
Right.
And I'm hoping that that's kind of what we communicate and show through what we're doing.
Right. So without further ado, where are we at now? What are we doing?
Yeah.
So, you want to, where are you at right now? What are you doing?
Well, I'm about to be at year 11 tattooing. That's dope.
Yeah, it's cool.
I've been hearing horror stories recently about year 10, your body's gonna start breaking down, and so far I feel like I've been holding in there okay. Hitting the gym once a week with Blaine,
Mm-hmm.
it's like bare minimum. It's almost a shame to say once a week, but at least I'm getting in there once a week. But so year 11 tattooing. I got 2 beautiful little girls, Logan, Lakin. One's about to be 9 in December. The other one just turned 2. 2-year-old's a little redhead, and she's a spitball for sure.
For
Little fire,
sure.
and like, she's full of it.
Gymnast, man, jumping off of couches and shit.
Yeah, scary, honestly. Literally fell off the little bouncy trampoline. We got her twice today. Basically got rug burn on her forehead and was still right
Oh
back
my
out,
goodness.
Um, so you gotta watch her. You gotta watch her for sure. Just got married this past year
Woo-hoo.
in July. That was awesome. It was 10 years coming to a beautiful woman named Katie Powell now. But we went out to Glacier National Park. That was beautiful. That was probably the best experience I've ever had traveling. I mean, it was
Oh, I bet. I'm
dude.
sure.
Not only were the sights beautiful, but we didn't have kids for 6 days.
Oh, I bet that was a blessing.
Oh, it was otherworldly.
That was like the first time, right? It's like one
Yeah.
of the first times.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, I mean, outside of that, never more than one night, And since Lakin's been born, it's maybe 2-3 nights we haven't had kids at all. So, that's definitely tough, but it's beautiful at the same time. I enjoy it. A couple years back, I tried to take on a venture outside of tattooing in hopes that when we had our second kid, that I could like take 2-3 years off and not have to work. Didn't pan out, but I learned a lot of lessons throughout that journey, and that's something I want to dive. I'm going to dive into. If not episode 2, episode 3, for sure. Episode 3, more than likely, but I think that life's really good right now. Life's really good, man, and I am looking forward to uh this next season. Even though we're entering winter, and I'm not stoked about that, I feel like winter is always grind time for me. I feel like I get away from summer. There's nothing to really do other than just focus, and I feel like it's the opposite for a lot of people. So I think that that's another reason why I just try to kick it into another gear during that season. But what about you, man? Where you at? What you got going on?
Well, I just moved, which it was big for me because I don't know, I just hate close quarters, and I've just always lived in apartments, and I've lived with people and stuff. So, I don't know, getting into a house, it's got like a lot of room, and I've got like a fucking yard stuff. I feel like that was big for me this last year. And obviously, I'm a videographer for you. I've been working with you for 5 years now. Saying now out loud that I've been doing it for 5 years is just still mind blowing, because and we'll jump, into this in the next couple episodes, but never really thought I'd be doing this. But I still find myself getting challenged with it, which I think is obviously good. But one thing I'm kind of excited about with this is it's a new challenge for me, and I've always been attracted to the idea of a podcast, but that is part of why I'm excited to do this. Is it's a different kind of challenge. It's for me right now in my life, just trying to get better with a lot of I guess personal things, which has been like a struggle of mine, or maybe not even a struggle, but more like a journey that I've been on for like the last 5 years anyway. But this is definitely like a new season for me too, like jumping into this. But what else? I stream, so we were just joking before getting on here. It's like talking with people or trying to make friends is like work is life, So
Yeah.
how do I really get creative with describing my job? I do the social media stuff, so one thing I think you'd think is funny about me maybe is I almost have this distaste to popular social media. So I'm like the social media guy that hates social media. But I really do enjoy my job. That's different than a lot of what I think content creators are doing because, doing tattoos for people. And you said, there's only so much you can convey behind a caption and a tattoo photo. But I do feel like a lot of people feel good about, what we're doing for them and stuff. And it is pretty client heavy. But
And when you say client heavy, you just mean like acknowledging them, bringing value to them, and not really the process, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah.
You know, it's very client appreciation heavy and bringing value to them, celebration, which I've never had before. So, um, I don't know. It was that for a long time, and now this is just a big thing. And streaming was completely different because I guess I do that quite a bit too, or used to.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to get more into it now, but I don't know. That was more laid back. It was just like having um just guests on to bullshit in video games or something like that versus maybe what of some of the goals we have for this and bringing other people on or talking to people through comments and really expressing some real stuff. You know, it's not going to be as like crazy heavy as like therapy session kind of stuff, you know, but um I will say me and you, we've had some conversations that go pretty deep. So
Yeah. And we
I would
definitely
definitely
have.
expect that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was like probably a really crappy answer for where I'm at right now, but it's a difficult question for me to answer because I have learned. I think that I'm just constantly looking at the next thing without really having a strong evaluation of where I'm at now, unless it's like I feel like my life's falling apart and I'm like, oh, I'm so stressed. Like
Yeah.
I'm swimming to like keep my head above water or something like that. Um, but no, I am actually very excited for this, and I feel like
Yeah.
this is a lot of what I have going on right now. And the anticipation has been heavy.
Oh man.
It has
For
been
sure.
really really weighing on me a little bit because it's my baby, you know, a little bit. Like I want to be able to do the right things with this and um you know, touch the right people with it, you know, make
Yeah.
sure the right people are hearing it because I do think to go back into our mission statement, we don't necessarily have that all the way put together, but uh, I would be silly to think that our conversations wouldn't be good for other people to hear sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm hoping that as we open this box, people who are listening in will also be able to help create that pathway with ideas and thoughts. Give us something to open up that conversation with. But dude, you're fucking right, man. All day, I just been like, I almost didn't even text you, because I,
I wonder if
it's
does he have a headache or something? Maybe I don't know. Hopefully, I didn't mean
you know,
that.
but but yeah, and I think as we settle in, the conversations will get better and more organic, and uh, I think this will give me something that I've been trying to work on, or to give me some chances to do that. But just actively listening and not necessarily like trying to figure out my next plan or where to go with this or like what to say before you're even done. You really just kind of actually listen and try to communicate organically like we normally would, you know. Plus, I'm not a planner, so like planning out a fucking intro and you know, I don't even know what the terms are,
Right. This is
with like
all
the
kind of
breakdown.
yeah, this is all kind of inorganic, the whole introduction thing. So um
Unless it's just bad and you guys say it's bad and we need structure, then I'll fucking
dude,
try,
we'll do better.
we got Chat GPT that'll help us, lay out some
Right,
lay out some
right.
game plans, but um
At the very least, you're getting even if the whole structure of us doing like an introduction video or like an episode, it that itself just being a little out of place for us, you can still tell. Like I feel like we're fighting through this to just get to the normal
yeah.
conversation because we're trying to structure it. But um, I definitely think that later episodes will be able to translate a little bit better because normally maybe that's a good question. How do you think a lot of our good conversations, our better conversations come about?
Obstacles we're facing for sure. I
Right.
mean, I got this roadblock. What do you think? This has been weighing heavy on me. What do you think? I got the situation. I've been thinking about addressing it like this. Let me just get a second opinion from the homie, and see if my head's in the right place. I feel like that's probably like 90% of them.
I agree.
And, maybe we should try to have more conversations after a big win or like dive into that side of things more because I feel like probably majority of our conversations are obstacle based, like growth, problem solving, which sometimes might suck the fun out of, just earlier when you were talking, it's like, dude, I don't stop to smell the roses nearly enough. I get so focused on what's next that I don't even think about what's fucking
What's
going on right
here?
now, and like how good things really are sometimes. And I don't want to say that I don't at all, because that's not true. I do almost every day, but I'm thinking about what's next or the problems I need to solve more often than just gratitude. Um, which I know gratitude will do so much for you. I definitely think it's overlooked a lot, because things really could be a lot worse, and are for a lot of people.
That's a weird kind of like infectious personality trait that I think comes with having a strong passion or a strong drive. Is really never taking the time to be present with where you're at. But it's also kind of it's like a duality of mentality, A lot of people you see that oppose that are like, I think, almost entirely living in the moment, like almost wholesomely present, where they're not even thinking about where they're going.
Yeah, there's definitely got to be a mid ground, for
Right, and you
sure.
have to know how to be able to be present, but also like know which next 3 steps you're gonna take. And yeah, I think I'm really looking forward to this, because how often do we have? How often have you ever been able to completely remember good conversations we've had?
Maybe specific moments, maybe like specific times where I can recall really well, but there's been so many of them that a lot of them run together,
Right.
jumbled together. Or maybe we just talk for 3 hours and I only remember the last 10 minutes.
Right. That happened a lot too. So, but I think I feel like a lot of people that are doing well in their lives, you've heard that they journal and they'll read their journals again, or
I literally got challenged to journal yesterday.
did you?
Yeah, first onboarding call for Ryan Royce class. Um, yeah, we journaled for like 10 minutes. Nothing crazy, but it's just a few things on goals, what I'm trying to accomplish over the next 3-6 months. And by the end of the next year, I guess, really whatever I wanted to set it as. But yeah, he's been, I just did that yesterday.
Did they come at it from a place of, let's try to do some really organic like goal assessment for now, or which this can kind of go hand in hand, but do you think that it'll also be advantageous for you later on to go back and look at that like kind of journaling to see where you've come? And
I want to say yeah, but I never do. Did you know how many notebooks I filled up with
just
notes
shit.
on shit that I should go back and read? Because I know there's been plenty of times where I've been like fucking heart on fire, just in the heat of the moment, just passion driven, and just taking notes and writing down ideas and where I'm trying to go, and then I turn the page and it's like it fucking lost in the
Just
ether.
completely gone, right? Right.
But I know I would get something from that. For one, because I wrote it, I know what it'd sound like reading it through my head.
Mm-hmm.
And it may just be what I need sometimes, but I don't.
I don't either, and I never have, but I've always heard that. I mean, that's a component of successful people, is they go back, they kind of have a way of tracking themselves and holding themselves accountable, where we both know that accountability is, almost part of the equation of success.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm thankful for that for this podcast, and something I'm trying to get out of is accountability. Because if I can put it out in the open, I've always been like against that, I think.
Accountability. I remember you specifically talking about something to do with podcasts way early on that kind of feel like encompasses that, as far as like not dropping release dates or you were on stream, but you were not talking about when you were going to stream next, because you didn't want to be held accountable for showing up at that point in time.
Because it was kind of this mentality that if you're gonna set up standards like that and then continue to fail on them. Um,
Might as well just not set them at all, you
right.
know?
Might as well not set them at all, right? At the very least, don't project that on to your people or your audience, because it should just be expected that you're going to do better. Don't apologize for it. Just do better. But what happens when you don't? You know, granted, at the time I was like struggling to drive 2 hours home
Sure.
to like
Yeah.
make it on time for my streams, which is like maybe a little bit different pressure to experience when you're kind of talking about that. Like, don't, avoid accountability because it can't weigh down on you if no one else knows. But where I'm at now, I think with a lot of things is I'm trying to like clear up those like defensive plays that I'm always doing, like really get rid of the rest of them, and I think, like you said, being transparent on this and having full honesty, like not like having fucking 30-40 minutes of, we might talk about what we're going to talk about, but not like, okay, but what do we not want to say? Let's like really try to structure this to where like we're the dudes, we know everything, we're coaches, and we're going to be able to fix all your problems, or we don't even have problems ourselves, because that's too much pressure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like hats
Way
off
too
to
much
anyone
pressure.
that
Yeah.
is like about that, because
It's the hustle.
it's the hustle for one, and two, I'd be silly to think that no one that's doing that has something to offer people, because I know you just talked about taking Ryan Roy's, seminar or like his course or whatever. And there's plenty of people that have good value to it, but and we actually had a good conversation on this, like the whole credibility thing. But where do I stand with that? And when I want to offer people, do I want to like be the guy and just like, I'm going to tell you what this is and this is how it works, and you're going to take that, and I expect you not to change it? Or do I want to be the dude that's like constantly trying to get help? Or do I want to find something in the middle where it's like, I don't have all the fucking answers, but I got a good bit of them. We can probably figure something out in the middle and try to like, this solution might not be the prettiest, but I guarantee it's going to be for the best in the long haul, maybe, if we talk it out or something, Plus, I'm going to keep learning stuff throughout that, too.
That's exactly it right there. I feel like even if I don't, and it sparks a new idea, like at least I'm gaining, I'm learning too.
Yeah.
And I'm not my ego's not so big where I can't be the student all the time,
Speaking of ego and kind of like personality development-esque kind of questions, we had thought of a couple questions we'd ask one another, and the one I wanted to ask you, because I think that you can get a lot of someone's personality when you ask it, is if like taxes weren't a thing and time wasn't a thing, if someone just handed you $1 million right now, what would you do with it?
Oh man. Well, definitely some with, is there time limit on spending it or no parameters? Just like
you can do whatever you want
I
with
wanted,
it.
but I'm still living as long as I planned on living before. There's no there's no timeline there.
Yeah. So you can invest it, you can blow it all, whatever you want to do.
Well, there would be two things. One would be the lame version. That would be investing it. That'd be for what I would probably actually do,
right? Which
would take a portion of it and invest it into something that's gonna help develop some wealth long term. I think that's the play. That's what's been on my mind in real life. And then I would take some of it and just travel. Take some time off and go see different places with the family. My grandma's from Thailand. So there's some roots there that would be dope to
that'd be cool.
Go spend like a month in Thailand or something crazy, and then kind of travel from there. But if I had a whole million and I didn't do anything else with it, I would still travel. My girls would be set up with some kind of, I hate to say college fund, but some sort of fund,
like education or beginners fund.
Yeah, we'd hit Disney. I'd probably buy me a big RV or get one of those like Mercedes-Benz Sprinter vans and like fucking deck it out and just go drive through the mountains. And I think there's an interstate Katie was sharing with me that starts up in Montana, and there's like 4 or 5. Somebody help me out with this if you know what I'm talking about. But it hits Montana, goes through Yellowstone, you end up all the way down through Arizona into the canyons, Grand Canyon. There's like Yosemite, I think's on the in the route. Um, but there was like 4 or 5 dope spots on this interstate that just one long, you know, that would be sick. Um, Not a big fan of beaches, but I would just travel. I'd give me a big ass penthouse in New York and just stay like 100 stories up,
Hell
and
yeah.
just that's something I've been trying to talk Katie into doing so bad.
What,
She,
like getting an Airbnb penthouse?
yeah, just in New York and just like experience downtown and the food and probably blow some money and some fucking luxury
Stores and shit.
stores and clothing stores and maybe book a tattoo session with someone up there in New York. But that's been big. I don't know. I just want to experience downtown New York and just for a short period of time. But I want to
Mm-hmm.
experience it. You know,
Just
wake
don't
up in
drive.
yeah. That's what you said.
Mm.
But I just want to wake up in the morning, open up the curtains, and like see the Statue of Liberty and shit, and like
Oh, it'd be wild.
the sunrise, and I think that would be so dope. You know, but that I mean that's probably where what I would do if I just blew it. It would just be travel around
Mm-hmm.
in a dope RV van, whatever, with the kids.
How long in an RV though? How long? You know, how long did you do it?
I've been known to power through some things. so
So we talking like 8 years, you know, in an RV?
no,
Or?
no. For maybe a whole summer because kids are in school. You know,
Right.
school has I don't know, but
Chris, like, shit, I'll see you at fucking Christmas vacation. I'm out.
wake yourself up at school. But on the other hand, Katie, on the other hand, I don't think she'd make it that long, you know. But I think that would be dope. I think that'd be so cool.
I think it'd be cool to go backpacking through something like that. And there's a couple of routes. You said it's like they're really scenic routes too, right?
Yeah, part of me wants to text her right now and ask what it is, but it sounded dope. And
Yeah.
if Yellowstone, Yosemite, if or anything like Glacier, man, I mean Glacier, it was crazy. It was awesome. We were there for 5 days. Every day we were in the park, and they have this going to the sun road, so it's like a 2 hour long road, but you're going up and through the mountains. But if you go at a certain time of the day, it's like you're chasing the sun. You know, so if you go around sunset, I mean, it's fucking beautiful.
That's crazy.
It's so crazy, and you're like 3 feet from like a 2,000 foot drop at some of them, and I'm like driving. I'm like I'm fucking crazy right now.
I'm fucking crazy.
Hey, pat me on the back while I'm driving. You know, like no,
It's gonna be okay.
And then you look out and there's like 500 other people on the same roads. You're like, oh, it's not that. I'm not that hard.
Right.
You know?
Right. But they're probably all feeling the same pressure.
Yeah, I'm puckered up, you
Right,
know,
dude.
for sure. But what about you? What'd you do?
Well, I think I probably also have like a cool answer and a lame answer. Because I would for sure try to disperse. They would, I forget what his name is right now, but it's something I feel like has been popping up on Instagram lately. Rich people invest their money and spend what's left versus spend your money and then invest what's left, right? So I would have to take like fucking 3/4 of that, which is not leaving you with a lot on the back end of it's
Yeah.
like $250,000, you know,
Especially
And-
if you got taxed.
right? So fuck the taxes in this hypothetical.
Yeah.
But I would just feel so obligated to like set myself up for the rest of my life because full transparency, dude, if I could like just do this where I'm having like good conversations on a podcast and like whatever happens, you know, I'm just like trying to enlighten the people or trying to enlighten myself and then just go home and stream and just like stay up to date with video games, I probably would.
Yeah.
You know, just because I'm so immersed in like the whole fantasy world and stuff like that. It's like books to me, you know. But outside of that, I would probably like, I don't know, maybe it'd be tricky. I'd probably buy a house first or like build a house rather. I'd probably build like a really dope house. make sure it's all exactly the way I would want it for the rest of time, pretty much, and then just invest as much as I could, or like pay someone else to invest the rest of it. That way I just like would never have to worry about anything ever again. But that seems like it could be a slippery slope, though, right? To like feel like a lack of pressure with finances, or because I feel like a lot of where I've come from has been like, well before, when I came from, was working with you, it was like I'm fucking trying to get paid. I'm just like, because that's the only way that I'm making it happen.
Yeah.
But I feel like the further I get in my life, I start to realize that was a lot of my fuel for being so creative. I think in my head, or like clearly I didn't act on a lot of it, but what would life be like if you didn't have to work? Right? Would you lose passion? Would you lose motivation? Perhaps not for family, because I feel like you could just spend so much time with family after that. But
well, I hate how much of this question I hate how much this question is balanced on the money aspect of things.
mm-hmm.
In a perfect world, if you didn't need the money and you didn't have to worry about it, you had to think about it, and you could do whatever you wanted, like I would just have a ranch up in the fucking woods somewhere, maybe short out of town, but a dope state somewhere around the mountains or something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you still have to worry about the aspect money of thing, like the money aspect of things, if you still have to worry about that, then I do think there's a period of time where you just have to get your ducks in a row.
Right.
Get the investments set up to where I think really there ain't many options, that I'm sure there is, but I don't know of many options other than real estate, like having some passive income that way, but it's still not completely passive unless you have property managers in place and you got.
And that's what I was thinking.
But it still takes
some effort or some kind of capital, or pay someone else to take care of it, right?
Yeah, and that would be that. How well does your system work that allows you to do these things but still be good?
Right.
Because
for like the next, we're talking, hopefully,
rest of your life.
70, 80 years.
Yeah.
I'd like to be 100, So I definitely, I feel like that'd be a good question for ChatGPT is like, how could you take, and of course, it couldn't fully know because it can't tell the future. What if something crazy happens in like 20 years or something like that? But be an interesting question. It's like, how could you take $1 million today and ensure that that person's going to be taken care of for forever? I've seen people do that with Bitcoins. Like,
sure
you build me a coin.
Answer. I'm sure it would have a dope answer.
Someone pull that up. That's free money for you right there. But that's probably my lame answer. The cool answer would probably be I'd build a house still. I'd build a house that I just like really love, in a place that I love. I don't know if it'd probably be somewhere in this area, but it would have to be like, there's like a part of Ohio where like there's like these crystal blue lakes where you look at it and it's just like, that's fucking the Amazon or something. That's not Ohio.
That's so fun. I've never seen that.
Right, yeah.
I've always seen that shit brown water.
Right, dude. That's all I'm used to here in Ohio. So
let's go hit that beach at CJ.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So it'd have to be somewhere in that area, and then it'd probably be a lot of traveling, because I would love to just completely dive into every part of South America, like going through like Peru and all of and like Mexico would be amazing. Like, I don't know. There's so much, and I mean all of Egypt. Africa's amazing too, but I don't know how safe any of that is.
That's what I was just gonna say. That whole part of the world, like below us, all the way to the bottom of South America, just scares the shit out of me.
I do. Not jungles. Only it's just jungles. There's so much that, and this is like a side thing about me. I love history and shit like that. So that's clearly what my fuel for going down there would be. But there's like fucking birds that can eat you, like a bird. We have birds here, dude. There's some big ass birds down there. Yeah, like huge birds. We get big birds here in the States, like bald eagles are fucking huge. Like pretty much the size of a person. Yeah. They got bigger shit down there.
That's crazy.
Just like in snakes that would eat you, not even thinking about it, or like maybe baby snakes that'll fucking kill you, not think about it, right? Like,
Yeah. I seen a bald eagle today, man.
did you?
Yeah, right out about 10 minutes from the house. I see them all the time. Just crazy to me because I've never seen any growing up around here.
And
They're,
they were always endangered, but
yeah,
now I feel like I hear
yeah,
that. One of your clients was even saying that he sees them all the time.
yeah. I always feel stupid though, because usually when I'm in the car, if I'm not by myself, I'm with Katie and the girls, and we're driving. I'm like, oh my god, guys, look at the fucking bald eagle out there, like, and they're like, cool,
You're
like don't
just
even look. I'm
super
like,
in dad mode.
I'm like, that's fucking awesome,
Right.
but that,
I think they'll appreciate that when they get older.
yeah,
Maybe if they get that like nature side to them.
yeah.
But you have a nature side to you, don't you?
A little bit. I mean, when it fishing, that's about it. I tried the hunting scene, but it really wasn't my thing. But fishing, dude, if I quit tattooing, like that's probably what I would pursue. I would have to have some other, something set up because I don't think that maybe depending on location and where you're at, how good your guide service is, and like what kind of equipment, what kind of boat you ride, and and what you can produce
Right.
could dictate how good of a living you could make. Like there's a Blues Brothers charter down in I think it's North Carolina, Lake Gaston, bucket list, dude. I mean, they pull out monster catfish like that. That would be, you know, honestly, I can't believe I didn't think of that when you asked me about like big ass lake house, dope boat, all the gear, and just like living off the dock, kind of,
Right. That'd be, I think, a
Um,
really strong investment for you.
yeah. I don't know how much of an investment it'd be because I would be doing shit, but
Yeah, you can charge to take people out,
Yeah,
It'd be hard, I feel like, if, because I mean, if I ask myself that same question, what would I do if I wasn't doing this? That's difficult. I mean, um, I'm just not even sure if I can answer that question yet. But, um, I mean, I would definitely try to figure out. Maybe I would own like a card shop or something because I really love playing like Magic and stuff like that. But I feel like card shops are just lame, or like a retro video game store. I think that'd be super cool.
I just think about the local coin shop that we had here, Ohio Coin. You remember that place on Main Street?
No,
It's like right on the corner, right across from Taco Bell, and I don't know the shop where Flush Fantasy was.
Oh, wait,
Big
yeah.
yellow shop right there on the
I do
corner.
know.
Ohio Coin. That's like the only card shop I've ever been in. But yeah, it was baseball cards at the time because I had a dope collection growing up. I don't know what happened. They just like mysteriously disappeared. Yeah, but I had a dope collection. I had a
Hmm.
high school LeBron James card that I always was curious about, like
What?
what that would be worth now, if anything. But
Someone pull it up. Someone pull up some like high school LeBron James cards.
yeah,
Pull
I
up the
mean,
prices in the comments.
yeah, but I don't know. It I want to think about that stuff more. I've liked the idea of having a vision board, and in the past I've had some started, but I've never actually really followed through with like having one up for a long period of time in full. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would start cutting stuff out and putting it up. I'm like, man, I feel so like corny doing this that I just didn't. And then it would just end up being like a memorabilia board of shit that I just, like my grandma's obituary when she passed, and just like letters that I got that were special to me, but not like an actual dream vision board.
With some goals and stuff on it.
Yeah, but I've always heard they're so powerful. Um, yeah, and even people who are needing help in that area would recommend it to them. Knowing that there's power there, but I've never actually fully committed to having one finished myself.
Mhm.
Um, so maybe that's something I could do to work on to help build some fire moving forward. I think I'm definitely in a season in my life where that fire's started, and now I'm just trying to build it up and get it rolling again.
Right.
As I mentioned earlier, summertime I tend to dial things back a little bit. You know, but yeah, it was a good question, man. I think we rabbit trailed a few different areas
Yeah,
there, but I had one similar, and we'll take the money out of it though. I mean, unless I we could say even if you had 100,000 or or no money, but I feel like you just have to have money to do anything wild. But if you had fucking 24 hours to live, but that, I mean, that's kind of, you know, I don't know if
Well,
that's too similar to what we just asked, but
no, because I feel like with the $1 million question, I'm definitely thinking long haul. Like I feel like if you give me $1 million right now, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna live to 100 minimum. You know, like make sure my medical bills are all taken care of and stuff for forever. I'm gonna do my best anyway to try to plan for that. But if I have 24 hours, like you're right, money does make some wild things happen. But um, dude, I feel like there's so many people in my life that if I like people that I think really love me, which I'm so fucking blessed for this, that if I was gonna leave this earth tomorrow and I was like, guys, I need all of you just to help me pull together to make this one thing happen. I feel like maybe I could just make it happen. Just maybe, but 24 hours is a short period of time, so you're right, I think, in saying like fuck the money. Like probably make it happen, maybe. But personally, I feel like you know, to go back to is I've just always felt so like called and um I've just always enjoyed. I grew up watching like fucking documentaries and stuff like that about the Mayans, the Aztecs, and the Incans, and I just really want to go see like fucking Machu Picchu. Like like if there's one thing I did do in this world, um, that I have to make sure I do is like to see places like that, or at least one place to experience what it's like to be there. Because I've always seen it on TV, and I feel like that's where the thought of like dreams just being dreams stayed. It's like I'm never gonna see these places with like
yeah,
my actual eyes, right? Like it's not possible. It's on TV or something like that. And all these people are so much smarter than me, you know, because they're on the TV and they're telling me about it. But really, are they though? Like, are they smarter than me? Because I could, you know, I've spent my whole life just completely intrigued by these things. So I don't know. I would really, really be disappointed in myself at my final hour if I hadn't gone and did that. Because I feel like it would just give me like as my person, um, like almost like a euphoric moment, or like seeing the heads on Easter Island or something like that, or being at Stonehenge, or just being somewhere that it's like got some sort of strong prehistoric value to it. Like this is where we fucking came from, or part of where we came from, type deal. That's always been important to me. I don't
yeah,
know why, but probably going to see Machu Picchu.
yeah. I mean, that'd be dope. You know, um,
Of course, I can't go up and stand on the shit or anything like that. It'd be disrespectful, but I want to go look at it, you know, be in its presence.
yeah, and tell me a little bit about that, because I feel like I know what you're talking about, but I don't want to misspeak here and not be correct. Um, yeah, tell me a little bit.
So Machu Picchu is, if I'm not mistaken, just like they're Mayan ruins. It's like a
Gotcha.
pyramid, Mayan
Yeah,
ruins and
so
stuff.
in the movie Apocalypto, that's like where they're fucking bowling chopped off heads down the
Yes,
stairs.
yes. Like to be somewhere that
Yeah,
things like that really happen. And
yeah,
I could go down this rabbit hole. It's like probably more than tattoos, hey,
yeah,
you know, but uh I don't know, like those motherfuckers knew some shit. You know, maybe they're not perfect. They didn't plan or predict the end of the world and all that
yeah,
nonsense, but um they did undeniably had a lot of intelligence that is far surpassing what we know now for like the advances we have. Like I feel like we should be a little bit smarter um for the technology we have as opposed to what they were doing, but at the same time, like you just said, they were doing fucking there was I think in history at one point they sacrificed say that they sacrificed like 20,000 people or something like that in a day.
yeah.
Like holy fuck.
Well, and it seemed like in the movie too that they used a lot of that to their advantage to remain powerful,
Right.
knowing some of those things about the sun and some of that shit. I feel like they used that to um
Yeah, keep themselves on top.
sure,
Mhm.
uh I've always seen clips of Apocalypto, it looked dope, but I finally watched it.
Did you?
Yeah, like 2-3 weeks back, and it was dope. Um Yeah, it was a pretty interesting movie for sure.
At best, or at worst case scenario, it's interesting.
Yeah, I thought the scene where the little girl like predicted the prophecy for that evening, that was very freaky. And
Hmm.
she had the disease.
Right. And
Ugh.
it's like, dude, speaking of disease, it's like that's another thing about it is just even realizing that like the Spaniards bringing like smallpox over and the Europeans like bringing smallpox over. It's like pretty much, if I'm not mistaken, what wiped them all the way out.
Isn't
It's just disease and like
yeah.
killing themselves and stuff, like bickering and fighting. Um, but again, it's just been so fascinating that they did all these things to themselves, but they've in a lot of ways far surpassed like some sort of at least it has a lot to do with like astrophysics and
Yeah.
the alignment of the stars. Like, how do they fucking know mathematics and things like that?
Yeah.
Where with what and where they were in history and what they had to go off of, right?
Yeah. And I wish I could egg this conversation on, but
I
but,
know.
I'm giving her everything I got to help
Yeah.
it keep rolling. But and it's hard for me to relate in a lot of those things. I hear you and Dylan talking about the shop it all the
Oh
time,
yeah.
and I'm like,
Turn
That
into the
shit
two crazy
sounds
guys.
dope. And part of me has kind of became more curious about some of those things. I see a lot of Rogan clips, and I feel like his guests always are talking about dope stuff.
Yeah.
But
Not to
it's
yeah.
tough. It's tough. It's tough. And I feel like when I do put that stuff on, I don't retain much because like the ancient aliens with Graham Hancock,
Mhm.
like that shit was wild and deep, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
like what did you just say?
Right. Like what does that apply to me and my subway that I'm eating right now?
Oh. But
But not to like keep trailing that on. I mean, what would you do if you had 24 hours left?
mm, in the exact same scenario I'm in, wife and kids, like it would just have to be just like the ideal family day. I mean, I don't know what else I could say here and not feel like a piece of shit for it. Like I think that's just what I would want to do. Good breakfast, do something fun with the kids. Uh, we're in Springfield, Ohio, so I don't know what that would fucking be. We'd have to, maybe a day at Disney with the kids. Or I hate to even say that, but just an ideal day with the family. I mean, that'd be it. Um, so it feels like a lame answer at the same time, but I just don't know what else,
I mean, I feel like you would still desire that even on your best days, right?
Yeah, and I
Like,
feel like I could go do something fun, but I would still want to be in that scenario, because that's huge for me, and that's really what has been my driving force the past, since basically been my beginning of my career. I mean, um, Katie got pregnant pretty early on, which wasn't long after high school. We had our first kiddo. So it's just been my motivating factor for years. I feel like that would just be the only way I could do it. Um, just have a good last day with the fam bam. Um, so it's not like crazy exciting or anything. That they ain't going to see Macho,
Machu Picchu.
Macho
Macho
Picchu.
Picchu. Yeah, but I still think that's a wonderful answer,
Yeah,
nonetheless.
yeah, I think so too, man. But yeah, I think another question I had for you that I've been seeing a lot of people attack the social media ways, tattooers, random people, small business owners. There's one guy in specific that I thought his his plan was cool because that's what it is. It's deciding on what I'm trying to take where, and then figuring out maybe like a cool, um, like this guy, like he sold watches, but he would basically use TikTok as a platform to go live at random places in the world. I think it's worldwide. If not, then all over the United States. But he would just go somewhere random, sit in a park, sitting somewhere very low key, go live, and then just like first person to find me gets this watch and picture, and we'll celebrate whatever. But he's live TikTok. But I see a lot of different people doing similar things. And if you wasn't a videographer tattooing and you was gonna do something like that, what would that look like? Like, what do you think you would do to try to get quote unquote TikTok famous or
Or to
Instagram
get somewhere
famous,
with it.
something with a brand?
I would definitely kind of I mean, I'd pretty much just try to be Graham Hancock, honestly, because he does a lot of um just unraveling ancient cultures and stuff like that. And I think that's always been my biggest fascination, going from when I was young, watching the ancient aliens and stuff, and it being all good and fun and exciting. And, that sounds intriguing, like that an ancient alien civilization came and taught and made us. But it doesn't really serve me to continue doing that because it kind of dies out. It's like after a while, that theory kind of is just getting bullshitted so much when we're finding new things on top of it. So if I was going to get TikTok famous or like make something of my life on TikTok outside of like what I'm already doing, I would it be okay for me to continue using my camera? I would probably take my camera and just use it to be more of like journalist, like anthropological like journalist. So just going and probably following around archaeologists and different kinds of like field scientists and stuff that are just like at these places already, but I'm just there documenting the whole thing because I just feel so called to it.
What's that place they just discovered that was like buried on this big hill, but it was just like layers of
Göbekli Tepe. Or I'm sorry, not Göbekli Tepe. That's a different thing. I know what you're talking about.
They talked about ancient aliens, right?
It's the Ancient Apocalypse.
Ancient Apocalypse.
Yeah, they talked about it in that one, but fuck. I feel really upset that I don't remember the name of that one. But that one goes back like
multiple. I mean, they different, a few different times, didn't they?
Like different kinds of people. Like, so someone had come in, like one type of like civilization had come in, made these structures, and they like died off or left. And then a completely new set of people, like new altogether, came in and like built on top of these things. And that happened, I want to say, like 6 or 7 times. Oh. And, when you really start to think about that and when we were in school, what we were being taught, I remember, and I think this might actually be like the real fury that is in me that makes me like keep going with this stuff, was 7th grade, I was in history class, and we was talking about how the pyramids got made. And this is so corny. I know you shit all over this, like, aliens made it, or whatever. I don't even necessarily believe that, but I definitely think they had some sort of better technology to how they were making those motherfuckers, because they're still standing, Yeah. But we were, like, learning in school how they were getting made, and they were, like, teaching us the whole pulley system, and, like, they were setting up like stations on the corners of the pyramid to like get the block up there and then like to twist it and then get it up. And I was like, that's not what happened. I like tried to call out this teacher in the middle of 7th grade. I was like, this just isn't what happened. Like you can't convince me, And I don't know. I don't think another person that was in that class even remembers that, but that stuck out to me because I left that class feeling like that teacher was actually full of shit.
Yeah, that was a defining moment in your life right there.
Yes, it was huge. Like, talk about the biggest chip on my shoulders is walking out and be like, he's getting paid for this.
Yeah.
What? Like, I'm going home and doing this shit on my free time, just like learning this stuff in the 7th grade. But
yeah,
I'd say that's like a huge moment of why it's always stuck with me is like the whole, what's his name from fucking that 70s show, Hyde. Like the whole Hyde thing, like the government's out to get us. Like they're not telling us everything, man.
Yeah, that's funny.
Just having that kind of moment that I walked out of that classroom and felt like, oh, I know some shit. Like now I fucking know, dude. You can't convince me.
You ain't lying to me,
right?
That's funny, man.
Yeah.
That's funny. I wonder if they. I'm sure they probably did to some degree tattoo each other back then.
Oh, dude, it's a great, maybe a good recommendation for all the artist people that watch this show. Um, I think the documentary Struggle is really, really good.
The documentary Struggle. What platform's that on?
It's on Netflix. It's actually Netflix made. It's about a Polish sculptor named Stanislaw Zukalski. His last name spelled like Szuk. It's fucking crazy shit. But um, he actually goes into that at like the very end of the documentary. The dude's already well passed away, but he had this history about him where he had gone into like the history of tattooing as just artwork and what it meant. And a lot of early tribal tattoos that they had found were like lines that were tattooed across people's bodies, like super horizontal lines throughout the whole thing. And they found that it was like signs of the deluge, like the great deluge, like the flood and stuff like that. So it was representation of where you've come in your life. So you would get like new lines added to your body.
Is it fucked up that when you said that, I immediately thought of the SpongeBob song? It's a great day to wear a striped sweater.
What the fuck? So I think that's wonderful. If I'm friends with anyone, they're gonna think about SpongeBob from time to time.
Oh man,
that's good.
But to maybe get back on a little bit more serious note, what are some things that I guess I want to say, what has being involved in the tattoo industry, what's it done for you? I mean, I definitely have some answers there, and I think for so many people, it's really done wonders for them. But you're not even being a tattooer, just being around the industry, and you have enough knowledge to where if you picked up a machine and you learned how to actually technically apply it, I think you'd be fully capable.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what's it really done for you?
I mean, honestly, it's like a big question to ask because, like you said, I'm not an artist, so who am I to say that it really gave me anything? But I mean, and it really has. It's above all else. I think it's given me freedom of mind, and with that, I mean like the confidence to like think about what I want to think about, and maybe I can actually make my life something that I can imagine in my mind, and it not just be that and be stuck that way. Because I was always that person before. Like we said that at the beginning of this podcast that I think I tended to be more of a dream person rather than I'm going to actualize what I want. Like, what's the difference between dreams and desires kind of thing, And I feel like being in the tattoo world, albeit maybe blessed with who I was around starting out in the tattoo world, because I do think that plays a big part in it, that might be above all what I've gotten out of the tattoo world. Because even being a tattooer, you can make your life whatever you want doing tattoos. You could probably go just about anywhere in the world and make a living off of it and build a clientele, or maybe you just build a clientele up big enough to, have them all come out to you or something. Like, there's just so many options in the tattoo world that you can just do whatever you want. But for me, just being a content creator, absorbing it or like capturing it and like reposting it and stuff like that and relaying people's stories and messages, I don't know, just like being around people like that, like the free-minded people, like, well, why the fuck can't you just make your life what you want it? Like, asking me the real question, like, what do I want my life to be? I think that's probably been the biggest thing that I've gotten out of it.
Yeah, that's dope, man. And I can agree with a lot of what you're saying here. And I think the industry will be so powerful when, as Ryan likes to say, when we get off the pirate ship and we take some of that fire and some of that like fuck the system and actually apply it to success principles and growth and like putting actual action to intent and showing up a certain way. I think the industry is going to be so, and it's already $1 billion industry, but I think that it's gonna be fucking unstoppable. And there's been a huge. I've been tattooing 11 years, so there's been a lot of tattooing done before me, but I've witnessed a lot of change. From where I started. I did start pre-pin, like pre-Cheyenne Hawk. Like I just started tattooing when they
Oh, like
released.
pre-pen rotary
Yeah, like
machine.
not rotary machine itself, but
Oh, like the pen styles
they came out with
specifically.
like the Cheyenne Hawk and the Thunder, the Spirit, and there was others prior to that, but and then shortly after the pen style, and then it went wireless. Um, but so I it kind of felt like I experienced the pager to the Motorola Razor to the
Oh
BlackBerry, the
yeah.
iPhone again, kind of thing. And now with this past year, there's been a crazy year, 2, 3 years. It's probably been a culmination of years, but it seems like it's really ramped up this past couple years as far as like personal development, growth mindset. Right, I like to mention rising tide raises all ships. There's been a handful of artists that are taking on doing more seminars, doing more coaching. There's just more togetherness than I've ever experienced, which is dope. And I think it's still just the tip of the iceberg. But I'm really excited to see all of that continue to grow, I guess.
Yeah, the future of tattooing is like looks really awesome,
Yeah, and
honestly.
even in a world where it's like seems kind of rocky, seems kind of like what's it gonna do? Where's it going? I keep hearing the economy shit, and people are struggling to work, and there's a lot of jobs, and part of me thinks just the self-employed world is rising, and people are actually okay, but I really don't know what to believe as far as like the news and like reporting on that stuff. Just going
Hmm.
based off of what I'm seeing through clients, and then also associating with other tattooers or other artists in this field. Their take on it. Um, it feels different to me than what others are saying, but I'm not sure.
Where you really stand on reality.
Yeah, I guess I feel like I'm just in my own little bubble. Which is it's a great feeling to have, but at the same time, I hear that oh, you gotta pay attention. You gotta work. You gotta keep your eye. You gotta know what's going on so you can
Hmm.
be prepared for it. But yeah, I think about this Bill Murray clip, and he's like, "Why fucking worry about it? Let's worry about it when the time comes. Versus like sitting here in panic mode, worrying how can I, and we don't even know if it's gonna show up. So like I've been riding this naive high of like shit's just gonna be going good, and just
Hmm.
riding in faith and hope that shit's just gonna keep going good. Um, and when I tell that to some people, they're like, "Man, that doesn't sound safe." It's like,
Hmm.
well, what's the flip side of that coin? Do I
Right.
hold back? Do I not make ambitious moves, or do I not go after it because like, oh god, what if something crazy does happen?
Hmm.
Um, but it's,
Like,
it's fun.
what do you really have to lose? You know,
That's a good
so it's
question
a
in
big
itself.
question. I was like, what do you really have to lose? And um, people are only as open to answering that question as I think that they're open with themselves. Or, of course, like in certain settings, people don't answer certain questions, but um, every person knows the true answer to a question. Because you're answering it in your head, whether you say it or not. Um, but I think that to kind of piggyback on what, and we'll talk about this more in some later episodes, but
I think the thing I'm like most nervous of is just regret. If I don't make the move and it doesn't happen, like that, I what shoulda, coulda, woulda. That sucks. I would almost rather make the move and then shit does go bad and I have to fucking figure out how to clean it up and figure out how to restart or move forward than to not make the move. Everything's okay, and now
What happens when you see someone like down the street that did it, and then you're like, fucking should have done
Right.
it, right?
Right. Yeah. And now it's like envy, resentment,
Mhm.
So I just try to live in I do believe that if it's meant to happen, it'll be easy, and if it's not meant to happen, then maybe I won't. So that would play into some of the I'm making there, but um, yeah, I'm in a period of my life where I'm just trying shit.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to see what works because I'm trying to experience just happiness and excitement, and not have to lead with enthusiasm because there's a difference there. Enthusiasm is something you create, you generate. Excitement is a reaction, and I
Right.
want to react in an excited, positive, like, can't wait to fucking get up and tackle the day, which there's a lot of days where I'm ready to go tattoo and I'm ready to sit down for 10 to 12 hours. Uh, but then there's a lot of days where it's like, man, I got to sit down for 10 to 12 hours.
Right.
Like, I got to do this.
The flip of the switch is strong, on that feeling sometimes. But I do think that you have like an opposition personality type to what a lot of people are, because for me, and I can say that from experience, because I was definitely one of those people where I'm not gonna do it because I don't want someone else to look at me and be like, "Oh, there you go, another fucking failure on
Mhm.
you," So, um, I can definitely say that my motivation was like fear of not being like made an example out of, or like, and not having anyone else to blame but for me,
Mm.
but not seeing it from the point of view of like, well, what happens when you like, you tried something, like tried 10 different things and all 10 of them failed. You're just a 100% failure and you never tried again, you know? Um, that never clicked to me again. I think I found a lot of like comfort space in where my life was before I started working with you, for sure.
And when you say you found a lot of comfort space, what do you mean? What do you mean there?
I feel like I just found what my minimum was.
Yeah.
Like, what do I need to really exist?
Yeah. And
Um,
it's maintainable, and you're not eating shit, no bloody noses,
no,
no big fails. And if you do lose your job, like, you're probably good until you can find another one.
I mean, really, I wasn't though.
Yeah.
I was just like really living day to day to make sure that, um, like, did I eat something sweet today? Am I not so hungry that I can't fall asleep right now? Because, that was a lot of the times that I was kind of going through at certain points before, you know. Um, so, and obviously full gratitude that I'm not in that space before, but, um, we've talked about this before. Is I do think that I have kind of like a grave, or not a graveyard, like a junkyard dog personality type. That I think that I picked up when I was just at such a lack of everything and found comfort in that I looked at other people like, you have so much but you're still fucking off, like you're clearly worthless because you squander everything that you get. Um and I feel like I get caught up in that a lot now, like, but doing it to myself. Like, do you squander everything versus you used to have nothing, and was able to be happy about it. Um, I don't know how we got there. I don't know how I got to that
Well,
from.
what has been some of the biggest, well, I guess what has been the biggest blessing you've gotten from tattooing or like being around tattooing in the industry? Um, because I think you're very much versed with the culture and versed with the industry itself. And I mean, you can talk tattoos all fucking day, and artists, and we've definitely talked a lot about design and stuff. But I just was curious, what's really been a benefit from you being around, and then we rabbit trailed.
Oh, because you were saying how, um, how you don't want to live with regret. Like
Yeah.
don't do this thing, and I go all this time where I definitely used to be. So that's another thing for sure that I've gotten from the tattoo world is I don't and it's so weird. Like it's hard to answer whether or not you say like tattoo world because I feel like these tattooers, again, more than tattoos, like tattooers are out in like the normal world, and granted, I might not have had some of the conversations I've had with the people that have shifted my perspectives on things had I not just, been invited through a job or like an opportunity to start doing these things in the tattoo world. But I do feel like with some of the people that I've met, it didn't necessarily have to be in a tattoo shop or in a tattoo setting for them to like have relayed that same message to me had I needed it and I had the same opportunities to get it right. And of course, this is all encompassing tattoos because it's like,
Yeah.
we like even started doing any of this or having
Yeah.
good conversations or how I even got the best things from tattoos. But um, I don't know. I've gained a lot from tattoos and just like feeling like I have a home for sure. But not playing to like I'm definitely playing more to win now versus like playing to not lose. But the only reason I can even do that is just because I have like the freedom of mind, like I said before, like the confidence to even ask myself some bigger questions at all. Like what I want to do,
Yeah.
you know. Got thick at
Got
the end of
real
this.
thick.
Right.
No, that's good, man. And I fuck with that so heavy because I love that. I love that, dude. I could pick up and move across country tomorrow and pick back up. Maybe a little tough, and I got to start from scratch. But um, I can make my own schedule. I can work with the clients I want, and this isn't a customers always right thing. And I love that I can set my standards and my rules, and you either play ball or you don't, and be my own thing, and work 2 days a week and spend 5 with my family, and uh, you know, not feel like anyone could tell me what to do except for the fucking IRS. The motherfuckers
Right.
will shake you down like the mob, but your brother's out here ready for him.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with that heavy, man. And I think that there's a lot of industries that people could develop that mindset with, but it's definitely something that has to be chased. It's definitely something that's foreign. It's that thought process because if you went to school anywhere, you're not learning these things. If
Mm-hmm.
you go to college anywhere, you're not learning these things. Maybe there's some like niche program out there that will teach you entrepreneurship, but the person who's teaching the course, chances are they're not an entrepreneur. They're teaching,
Right.
unless they do stuff on the side and it's just a passion thing. But if they're a successful entrepreneur or someone who has created a lot of wealth, chances are they're not going to want to go sit in a classroom and teach from 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of things you have to seek on your own time, from people with experience and wisdom. But man, something about that is just so freeing. The possibilities are legit endless. I mean, you could do anything you want as long as you set your mind to it and you're not rejecting it on an energetic level. Which these past 3 or 4 years, I have gotten more woo woo than I've ever been. And I grew up in the church, and not to say that that's woo woo. I don't
Woo woo meaning just like spiritual, of being something like not so realistic, like
Yeah.
having faith in
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, and when I hear the terms realistic, it almost I almost feel bad because it's like, I mean, the humans are so smart. The brain is so crazy. Just our bodies, and I think there's so much to it. Why can't we have power over it? Why can't we bring certain things into, you know, to bring things to life, manifest? I don't know. I feel cringy even talking about it, but it's stuff that I've like embraced. and I know you've experienced that with me, saying things out loud, speaking things into existence. I know you've experienced it yourself, but there's so much to it, and I've been exploring that deep.
Mm-hmm.
I've been exploring that deep, and uh, there's a handful of books that I've that camera's been out for like 20 minutes, but there's a handful of books that I've read, but I would love, love, love for more recommendations. Like, please drop some books in the chat comments, whatever that looks like, wherever you're watching this. Like, share some shit. I'll audiobook it. I got. It's funny because I'll buy like the hard copy books and I'll like want to read it, but then I'll just buy the audiobook too.
But you be crushing books. I'll give you that. You're a big reader. Whether it's like listening or, physically reading it, I think you can run circles around books sometimes.
And this past year, I haven't done as many, but we're listening to and when I say we, me and Katie, um, it's called BRRR. It's buy, rehab, refinance, repeat, I think. But just because we've been thinking about real estate or being renters, or not being renters, but renting out properties and doing stuff like that. And I think she's became really interested in that realm of things. But that's what we're reading right now. And then, then outside of that, I'm watching bookkeeping videos and a lot of stuff with Ryan Roy. I've been learning QuickBooks, which has been very time consuming because I started QuickBooks like 6 months ago and I put a lot of shit in there wrong. And then I deleted it. And then when I restarted it, all my shit's still there. So like I'm going back and like deleting rules and restarting rules, and so that's been pretty time consuming, but I feel like I'm accomplishing shit with that. I feel like when I get done with this course, like I'll actually have some financial literacy to take care of my money. Because like I'll make it, but then it's like, where does it go?
What do I do with it?
What? I thought I had more than that, but let me go check and make sure like someone overseas ain't stealing all my shit because I don't know what's going on here.
That's the classic. It always makes me think about the Kevin Hart thing. Well, you see with the way my bank account works.
It's like with the way my bank account's set up. Yeah.
Oh man.
But that's good. Yeah, that's good. And I think we're winding down here, but I hope this brought something to you guys. I think that we talked about some good stuff, and then we talked about aliens and
Good
ancient
chunk.
shit. But I could tell you a couple episodes moving forward, they're gonna be good. We're gonna dive into kind of where I started, where we started, some of our journey, and take you down some things there. And if there was one thing I could leave you with today, would just be to take some action. I think just do something. If you're feeling like you burn out in a rut, do something, try something new. I think that's the only way is to just figure something out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But appreciate you guys checking in. I'm gonna hand the mic over to Tim. He's gonna tell you where to follow, where to all the social media shit.
All the goods.
All the goods. And at this point we just ask that help us help you guys, and
so like, you always see this on social media. It's free to support your people, by just like liking, sharing this with someone that you think could hear it, or share it because you just think it's good content. Let us know in the comments what you thought was good. Let us know what you thought was bad, all that stuff. All that is really helping us craft this into more what it's supposed to become, and, hopefully speak the right message to more people, right? So, you can find the show at on every major platform: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and video format as well. Instagram, it's at More Than Tats. I think it's similar on. It's More Than Tattoos on Facebook as well, but you can use that URL. Of course, you can find the links if you're watching this on YouTube down below. And Chris, you can find Chris here at Chris P Tattoos. Me, Saul Good X on Instagram. That's usually our main platform, but
that's not true. Chris Powell Tattoos.
Oh, it is Chris Powell Tattoos. I forgot.
Hey.
Oh, that's so funny. But yeah,
saying.
Without further ado, thank you guys all for tuning in to this intro episode of More Than Tattoos, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Peace.